We're going to start talking about a wideout, Jonathan Nance. Happy birthday. He is the Hogs' leading returning receiver. Shout out to the senior from Gulfport, Mississippi, who started 6 games this past season. Had some nice highlights there against South Carolina. All right, Mike Irwin, Tara Talmadge here, part of our crew. This is our 4 down segment, 4 hot topics. QB, who will start there? Yeah, we've heard that question a lot.
Right.
What is the word with the Razorbacks less than 2 weeks from kickoff?
Yeah.
If it's not the end of the week, it'll be the first of next week. We're going to go up there and evaluate and sit down and talk and kind of go back and look and visit and have discussions and see how this week goes. They may take the first snap, but somebody else may play too until we get we were actually out there and you see the crowd around, the officials out there, everything is live at that point. That's when we're going to really know.
So here's the deal. We were not invited to get the opportunity to watch that scrimmage yesterday. Right. So really, based upon that, what do you take away from that, Mike?
Well, unlike last week, we actually have some real information because there were a lot of people at that scrimmage and they talked. And apparently, Ty Storey had a rough day, threw 3 interceptions, and Cole Kelly, while he didn't tear it up, did a better job. So it's presumed he may have moved ahead a little bit. But the 2 freshmen and Dalton Hyatt, the redshirt freshman, he had a nice touchdown pass and ran in a 2-point conversion. John Stephen Jones scored a touchdown. And afterward, Joe Craddock ended up saying that the 2 freshmen may play in early games because of the redshirt rule.
Yeah.
Connor Nolan, Tara, that's
absolutely.
a guy. I want to hear some more about this kid. A lot of people do in the state of Arkansas, but what do you think about this?
I don't know. I mean, we've been talking about this. Obviously, it's been a hot topic in our office as well. And Connor Nolan, you never know. We may see him in that first game. It's my opinion that I think Jason Carroll and I have the same one. We're going to see a couple of them in the game on September 1st. Still not sure who's going to be that starter per se, but even Chad Morris has mentioned that whoever takes that first snap might not take the second, third, or fourth one. It just all depends on what happens in the game and how it all goes. Ty Storey, Cole Kelly, I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, the cool thing is I think that redshirt rule. I'm kind of digging that, and we need to get the clarification that it's not the first 4 games of the season.
Right.
It's any 4.
Any 4.
So that's something really to keep in mind throughout the course of the season, especially with this Arkansas Razorback team that we cover every day. It's no secret the Hog D had major issues tackling in recent years. This program crushed on initial contact and second and third levels as well. Painful to watch from the press box, by the way. Back to yesterday, the Chief demanding a lot more at this point.
Honestly, I'm glad today wasn't our first day or first game to play. Because we were not where I expected us to be, but I will guarantee you we're going to be better tomorrow. And we ain't going to practice tomorrow, but we're going to be better. If you can't block, you can't tackle, it's hard to play winning football. And certainly we don't do a lot of blocking on defense, so we've got to be a great tackling defense. There's no question about that.
Those big chunk plays that we talked about so many times during game day shows, Mike, you look down the road, if it's Nick Fitzgerald, for somebody else from another team like LSU, what have you, we've just seen those chunk plays allowed way too often by the Razorback D in recent years. Yeah.
It was interesting because basically Chad Morris really gave the defense the nod in that scrimmage, and then he makes way for, the defensive coordinator, John Chavis, and he basically says we were terrible. So there was a real almost disconnect between what Morris was saying both about the offense and the defense and what the coordinators had to say. And this was one big difference. We expected Chavis to walk in and be all happy, and he wasn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. You never know with a press conference like that. But, again, it's nice to hear from the coordinators in general on Saturday, particularly after a scrimmage. But, Tara, when you look at this, everybody's talking about the Chief, what he's going to do as far as bringing the pressure. But, again, not a very happy camper yesterday.
Yeah, not exactly too happy. But I do think that regardless of whether they performed well in that scrimmage or not, that the defense is going to be kind of a bright spot for Arkansas this season. They've got a lot of talent out in the backfield, some guys up front that could really bring that pressure that Chavis is really excited about. Hopefully they can change things around. I know last season was not too good in terms of sacks, but hopefully, it'll be a different story this year. Randy Ramsey, probably one of the most excited guys about being able to really attack the quarterback. We haven't really seen him much. He's been kind of on the bench, I think, for a couple days. Not exactly too sure why that's been happening, but hopefully we'll see him in the games and stuff this season.
Gabe Richardson's one of those guys that you're going to talk about earlier today, and for good reason, because he's a defensive end who didn't see much time last year. He forced a fumble against Florida A&M. It was picked up by Kevin Richardson for a touchdown. But, again, Gabe Richardson, a guy to watch on the corner of that defense, that defensive front. That front four, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, me too.
But again, I keep sitting here pipe dreaming. It's going to be a game on the outside, and then on the other side, it's going to be Randy Ramsey, but we'll see. Gabe's really coming on. All right, there's so much talk about the running backs group, and of course, Morris thinks that is the deepest group on offense collectively. Then there was a gut check moment on Saturday.
I think that I've bragged on them enough that they might have started feeling a little bit better about themselves than we probably should in this point in camp. And I know Coach Traylor and the running backs had to have a little heart-to-heart and kind of get things back right on the sidelines and get their focus back right. I didn't think that we started strong at that running back position overall as a group, but I was proud to see how they responded.
The other thing, too, is, they're trying to make sure with this conditioning, Mike, that, you hold the guy out a little bit. Guy might get a tight hammy, might be, just some undisclosed injury, but, they've kept some guys back a little bit. Rakeem Boyd's one of those guys that really shows promise, but, they got to make sure that he's ready to go. He's been picking up the offense well, but conditioning-wise, got to make sure he's in for the long haul. He's a newcomer. But as far as the running backs, what do you think?
Well, there's another one of these disconnects because you just heard Morris. Then when Craddock, the offensive coordinator, got up to talk, he talked about what a good job they did. Now, he was up in the booth, so he said, I don't know anything about them having to be chewed out or whatever. I'd have to look at the tape. But again, he said they deserved all the compliments they've been getting because they've done a great job. And I think part of it was he understood that some guys were out, that they'd done a good job. The scrimmage doesn't necessarily define the whole camp. And I think he was just kind of a little bit miffed at the notion that the running backs didn't do very well.
Yeah.
He seemed to be fine with them.
The thing is, too, Tara, those running backs, it's a good mixture. Malik Williams, he could be that short yardage guy, so it's a lot of balance there that really they can work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, they've got a lot of talent. You've got Devwall Whaley, you've got TJ Hammonds, Chase Hayden. I know everyone's probably really excited to see Rakeem Boyd as well and see what he's got to do. So a lot to look forward to in that group.
Again, Rakeem Boyd, a guy who, started at Texas A&M and then had to go JUCO route, so we'll see what happens here with Rakeem. All right, great to see how much his coaching staff has embraced former Hogs Saturday. More than 300 former Razorbacks on hand joining the current Hogs for a barbecue.
We always talk about three things: Razorbacks of the past, Razorbacks of the present, and Razorbacks of the future. And that's what we live out every single day. And we always look at our past to know that we've got something we've got to keep building on that y'all set and the standard that y'all have laid out for us in this program. There's something special in these hills, and we're going to get it out of them. And we'll have a lot of fun doing it. And we're going to bring people, we're going to make people stand on their feet, be excited to be Razorbacks all over this great state and all over our great country. So thank you for what you do. And as your head football coach, I won't let you down.
Okay, so I'm interested here to get Mike's take because, he's been around since Lou Holtz was coaching this program. So I want to know from coach to coach. You don't have to go all the way back that far, Mike. But at least go back to Brett Bielema.
I think the problem started with the Letterman under Petrino. They really felt like they weren't welcome, and Petrino didn't want people at his practice. So they were kind of felt shut out. Now, Bielema did a much better job of welcoming ex-players back. But what Morris is doing is like everything he does. It's organized. He's not saying, hey, you can come if you want to. He's inviting them and then making sure they have a really good time. So that's the difference.
Yeah, and the thing is, this guy's just on the hop. I mean, he's like, I saw him run straight. It was a beeline to Jeremy Sprinkle in a practice recently, and I was like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's not just former players. I mean, he's also been so welcoming to high school coaches and anyone who really wants to come and watch a practice. I mean, we were just at the hospital the other day, and he invited so many children to come watch. So it's definitely a different feel.
Absolutely. Mike, Tara, thanks much.